to. You got to get that mental health. You know, God is
Good morning.
Morning. I was sending a happy birthday when you chimed on. I was looking
All
down.
right. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to my godchild. She's,
All right.
I don't know how old. Let me see. She's got to be 24, 25. I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
I'm going to go with that. My best friend that passed away is the oldest daughter. So I'm like, I need to tell her happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Good morning. Good morning, Suze. Good morning. Listen, this is the day that the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning, Kristi Michelle.
Good morning. I'm in my robe this morning.
Yeah.
I'm still in my robe this morning.
That's good. That's a cute robe there.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, listen, that's one of the mornings like what you got to do now. Listen, I have been up for some time last night, and I'm disturbed in my spirit.
Talk to me about it.
I'm disturbed about my community. We have a Houston issue with our school system, and the big thing of it is that there's not a solution to the problem, and there's nothing but just a lot of passing the book and blaming game, and we're just not. We really authentically are not coming to a real 100% circle and an agreement to say what is our solution at this point. Kristi, who cares about the problem of how we got here, Deborah Cox? Because we're not going to get the accountability that we expect from those who are in the current seat, was in the seat, did the work, created the issue, all those things. That's just not an integral thing that we can find within the placement of those who sit in those high power seats. So the thing is this here now. Let's stop playing in the faces of the community, the advocates, and all who has the influence to help navigate these families on what the how-tos and what we should be doing. We got to stop doing that. So let's go with what we know. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. This is going to sound, I don't know, it may sound like, oh, Kristi, you should know that. I bet you I'm not the only person that don't know this. I know TEA came in and took over HISD. I personally don't know, what does that entail? Like, is there levels of taking over? Are they getting ready to turn over all administration? Like, what does that mean when TEA takes over? Can you explain it to me? And for anybody else,
I sure can.
That don't know, I don't think we know exactly what that means.
So I'm glad you asked that question, because guess what? That is an educational.
Talk to me like I'm a third grader. Talk to me like I'm a third grader. That's how I'm gonna let it seep in, because I have no clue, and my kids are not in school, and they've never been part of HISD. So I just educate me.
Okay. Wonderful. So TEA is the Texas Education Agency. That's their name. That's who they are. They are actually the people who regulate. And when I say regulate, they maintain and monitor the actual policies and procedures that is placed in place for us as a governing body. Okay. So what they do is they're really truly like an audit group. Okay. They audit policy and procedures. They make sure they're collectors of data. So they are the ones who hold us accountable for the behavior that we say that we're going to possess in the school. Okay. So like a breakdown of, if you say, I'm going to sell lollipops on Thursday, and I'm going to give them out to these particular schools, and these particular things are going to happen, and I'm going to teach children how to sell lollipops. I'm going to teach children how to work through and navigate how the best marketing strategies. And this is going to be the amount of money I'm going to need. Because remember, Kristi, money is always the factor that is the nucleus of what the major situation is. So, Kristi, I'm going to sell these lollipops on Thursday. I'm going to educate 300 children on Thursday on how to sell these lollipops. And I'm going to keep up with the data. I'm going to keep up with the measurable outcomes of what's going to happen with these lollipops. Great cup cam now.
Motown. We've seen this before. Motown. Yeah. Motown cup.
Yes.
Okay.
So what I would end up doing is I'm going to sell these lollipops. I'm going to get my 300 kids, which are kids that are going to come in from public systems, which is the school, the communities, and all these things. So I'm going to need you, Kristi, to give me $2 million so I can sell these lollipops.
Okay.
I've put in my proposal. I have showed you the reason and the needs for the lollipops to be sold. And also, I've told you and shown you the measurable outcomes of what is going to happen. And also, I'm going to get a group of people together, which we're going to call them a board, and they're going to hold whomever we put as a manager, which we call a superintendent, in position. I'm going to hold him accountable or her accountable, and they are going to be the ones that will truly, honestly, they're going to make sure that their team, because remember, they have a team to a team, their team is going to make sure that the proper data and all of the research that we need, the assessments, the testing, and all of the policy and procedures that is put into place is going to be maintained. So when we report back to TEA, Texas Education Agency, they will be able to put in and generally make sure that all the data we stated is in a general pot and it's measured against my lollipop group, your lollipop group, the next lollipop group, to make sure we're all selling our lollipops and it'll score the same way. But here's the thing. I've asked you for $2 million for my lollipops. Someone else have asked for $2 million for the lollipops. We both have the same equal amount of funding to make sure our lollipop club is amazing. But this person over here decides they're going to do the right thing. They're going to follow the directions. They're going to make sure that the measurable outcomes are there. They're going to put into place all of the necessary tools so that this system will not fail. We over here made a decision and choice. We're going to ask for the money. We're going to get the money. But we're not going to regulate and maintain the people who we put in place and who we have hired, who we are employing to make sure that they are going to make sure that the Lollipop Club for us that serve underserved, underprivileged, already challenged families and communities, that they are in position to know that there is a support for them. So
basically, we don't want to spend the extra money for that could possibly need more resources, even though we got
we spent the money.
Right, but it wasn't on what we said we was gonna spend it on.
Right, we put it somewhere else.
We mismanaged our pocketbook on purpose.
Because the thing is this here, it's easier for me to say I serve 300 underprivileged, underserved communities, and my Lollipop Club is going to make it better for them and give them a outlet. And remember, they're already challenged, at risk. Their home demographics, the standards of who they are as individuals, their learning delays and disabilities have already identified that there is a need for the extra help to happen. You go forth and ask them for the $2 million, they're going to give you $2 million because you have proposed and you have written out a well-written out proposal that states these are the measurable outcomes, these are the predictions. If you give me this amount of money, I can get these amount of people on board to do the work with me so that we can get this done. So TEA, they trusted what you said.
As they should.
They go and they ask the government who funds the man who has our pocketbook, the big pocketbook. Hey, these people over here, Kristi's group is asking, can they get $2 million for their Lollipop Club? Here's all of the facts we found. And when the people who hold the pocketbook says, well, what's really in it for us? And the what's in it for us is, well, we're going to be able to show that we are going to be responsible for making sure and maintaining and holding Kristi accountable. We're going to monitor her. We're going to make sure that she knows what's happening. So this is where it gets tricky at, Kristi. I go and fight for you as TEA. Yeah. I bring in all the tools and resources that you need.
Yeah.
We have all resources available via website, and also you can call about these resources. The thing is this here. You say that you're going to call us. You say that you're going to use us. You say that you're going to follow these directions. But then you make a decision and a choice that once you find one way to loop it in and not be responsible, and you lose your integrity behind the scenes, not in the public, because it's easy to be integral in the public.
Absolutely.
Behind the scenes, when someone says that bad apple gets involved, hey girl, I got a spot for you where we can get more money, and we're going to use Kristi's little lollipop game. We're going to use her little lollipop game to get what we need. But we're not going to ever even see the need of it because, again, the numbers are already there. Because the data that we get from census, our census, that's why it's important that we do our census. That way that it can show from the top federal, from the government, from the majors, from the United States government, on down to who all passes out money. It shows automatically through the census of saying, I only got 2 people, but 7 kids. I got 2 adults and 7 kids in my household. And we only make $30,000 a year. That already shows that household is in a deficit.
It's like
Good morning, Pastor Whitaker. This already shown that they're in a deficit because they only make $30,000 and their bills is well over the $30,000.
Absolutely.
So this is the thing that happens here. And what has happened here is that the data that's given to TEA is not stuff that they come up with. It's what you give them. So if I tell you my school is not performing well, the problem that we have in my school is we did not meet the measurable outcome goals and assessments that the school, the district, and all who regulate assessments, we said we could do. And if we fail at something or we start finding problems, we will then start our part in our process of utilizing the tools so we can prevent these major issues like a possibility of a takeover and revamping how we allow the people to regulate. The basis of it is this here, Kristi. I gave you permission to run and regulate and to be the person that's going to guide your program. But I gave you my money.
And you ain't do right with my money.
But you did not do right with my money.
So now I got to come in and make sure that you.
I got to come in now and clean up. And as I have to come in and clean up, I'm looking at it from a place of straight up black and white information that you sent me.
Yeah.
See, that's the part that we're missing.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not a conversation that TEA just decided, hey, we don't like HISD.
Oh, no, they've been having this for probably about a decade. They've been having this.
It's been happening a long time.
And a lot of people don't think it's coming. A lot of people think, well, they're not going to come. They're really not about to take over. That's a big district. They're not about to really come take over.
Well,
it's kind of like the same thing that I'm dealing with. The federal courts ain't about to get involved with DFPS. Well, we here. And it's nasty. And it's going to be here for a long time.
And here's the other part of it, Kristi. I have personally saw this happen. I didn't just join this movement and community work just yesterday. No, I've been doing this a long time. And I've been on this whole entire watch of what we have going on. Before we got to Hattie May on 290, I was on Richmond when we were over on Richmond doing school board foolishness. And that's when I really understood before my kids, and when my boss sent me to go to a meeting, because we used to do programming after school, every programming, and that was one of the things that you had to do. You had to go to the actual meetings so you can then understand and hear. So I was introduced to the board meetings a long time ago, and I understood and I learned right then and there that it was a lot of things that was happening that we were missing, because the things that they were saying they were doing for our community, we were looking at like, we get that program. We don't have that. So a lot of things that's being stated that's happening,
Yeah,
it's not happening.
it's not happening.
And I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. And the truth of the matter is this here. You got so many people that are so friendly and in bed and friendshipping with everybody, with each other. I'm so busy trying to put Kristi on, I forget that I'm supposed to really hold the integrity and people trust me.
That's the
See,
part.
that's the part elected officials don't understand.
That's the
You
part. Oh
are-
no, they do understand. That's how they use it. Oh, they understand it very well. Let's
Right.
go and give them credit. They understand
Right.
it, Miss Nikki.
You're right.
And that's the problem. That's how they know. I
Right.
have your trust. So let me go ahead and use that to the hill.
Yeah.
That's the
And
same
the trust
part.
and the trust that's given is trust that has been earned from generation to generation. Because I trust my grandmother is going to vote for this person, and she has told me so many good things about this person. And here's the other part of it, Kristi.
Yeah.
Especially in our Houston community, Black and brown Houston communities, like the Fifth Wards, the City Gas, the Lakewoods, the Acres Homes. These are major pillars in the community that make the votes and people move, and we are a really big voice. No different than the Sunny Sides and the Sunny Side, the South Park. These are places where people pay attention to the community advocates. So I always really do advise persons who want to do community work. This is a tough job. And when you got the voice and the influence of people, it is really truly your honest job to tell them the truth. And the truth is this here. We dropped the bag. We dropped the ball. We did not do a real good job. They have really taken away a lot of programs that develop students at Wheaton. Absolutely, Suze. They have taken away a lot of programs that have developed a lot of kids. So what I was saying was this here, Kristi. I've experienced the takeover of a district before, because the district I came from, North Forest Independent School District, our district was taken just in the same manner.
It was it. I don't know anything about North Forest. All I know, because I'm not from here. I'm from Lake Charles, Louisiana, and things are just totally different in Lake Charles and in Houston, especially with schools and zoning. And I mean, like the school I was zoned to, that's been the school zone since the beginning of time. It's only 3 high schools. It wasn't all this rezoning and sports. The way sports and the zoning work here, it blew my freaking mind.
That's why they did it.
That's
why they did it, Kristi.
The emphasis on being sports. I never seen what I seen since I moved here behind athletics and holding your kids back and rezoning to get the athletes here and renting an apartment over in this district to say you there, but you live over here. And it's all behind a football scholarship. It's no other, and I'm just like,
because that's a kickback.
What?
That's a financial kickback. Remember,
I realized that too. I said, okay. And when I got in these foster care streets and this foster care game, and I realized how hard it was to get my kids in a certain school, and then it all just boiled down to funding. We can't have a lot of these foster kids in the school because they're behind, and then we have to spend more resources, and that's going to mess up our funding with our test scores. And it's just, I'm making the connection now also how everybody's probably and this is just a guesstimation, everybody's probably in bed with each other up here, because as I sit and you're talking, there are not many RTCs or GROs or group homes in other counties. What are you saying, Kristi? Fort Bend, I can count on one hand the RTCs, residential treatment centers, that are in Fort Bend that serve kids in CPS custody. And you know why? Because their community says you're going to have a town hall meeting and you're gonna come and say, and they can say, no, we don't want it here. Montgomery County, Brazoria County has no RTCs and CP, has no RTCs, baby. They's like, don't bring that here. So it is making sense to me now. I needed to, wow.
And guess what?
Wow.
Just what you said, Kristi, that there should be a meeting. There's supposed to be a meeting. And
but you know what? They rewrote the law. They rewrote the law for standards to say if you have a certain population in your county, then you don't need a town hall meeting. And of course, Houston is so freaking obviously you always supersede the population, which is why you have okay. Keep talking. You know,
and here's the other part of it, Kristi.
It's amazing to me how it all. This is the thing. We are playing in children's lives. Like at the end of the day, we are playing with children's lives. And you know, before we got on here, I never could last in those Austin jobs. I've been there. I've been moved here, and I've sat back in those meetings, and its bottom line is data. And I've watched the people on my end that have pledged to keep kids safe, and some of the decisions that they have had to make. I could not sit at those tables in those positions, positions, and wake up and look at myself knowing that I put a kid in a place and I gotta pray all night that you came in to care for physical abuse, and I gotta pray all night that you ain't coming out sexually abused. You know, like, and I should not have to do that. We just not gonna put them there. We're gonna pay this worker overtime, or we not gonna put them there.
And let me say this about money. Let me say this about the money.
Woo.
Education. Children welfare, education systems, we not broke. Children got more money than anybody. And guess what? Let me say this too. The children's money is secured. There will not be ever a time where in early child care, in children welfare, in school public systems, that money will run out. It does not run out because the money has already been locked and secured. Thank you, President Obama. He has brought a whole lot of money over to the children because it was stated and noted and shown, proven facts, data hit, and it was shown that kids were not receiving the services and the proper education that was needed. So he made that money happen. You can't play with it. It's already in the clause. You just got to go read. It's a big bill. It's a long bill. It's like a really good novel to sit there and read because he wanted to make sure, and this was what the Democrats was fighting for so hard when he got into the office the first time, that there will be money well put together for families, children to have an opportunity to live. Here's the thing, Kristi, what happened? Donald Trump tried to play with that money, and he figured it out real quick. He couldn't play with it. So guess what he did? Let me tell you how the game go. You remember when they tried their very best to start putting parents and families and giving them these different types of little resource stipends?
Yeah.
And they was trying to put it together and create these new little programs, like all of these little pilot programs. When you see a lot of pilot programs showing up, and survey groups and all these kind of things happening, they're trying to figure out how can they finagle the money and make it work. And what ends up happening is that they do finagle the money. But what put a real big block in there, y'all better pay attention to COVID. Y'all better pay attention to the pandemic. That God blocked that mess. Because what you was gonna end up having around is a lot of people were doing surveys said, and people were never going to be saying anything on those surveys. And they were never going to get out to the people who were supposed to get it. They were just going to stop it and block it. And so what we have here is we do not have great accountability. The problem is there. Now you have a school who is a pillar of the community. You have a real live problem with this school on the chopping block. It's one of those things of either we keep you or you don't. But here's the thing that's easy for me, Kristi. You said This is what was stated last night on a live that I jumped on. And we talked with one of the trustees that regulates our district where I am. I'm in District B. And we talked with her last night. And the question was simple. What is the solution? We're still waiting on solution.
And you're going to keep waiting because they don't know. Because if they knew, well, they know the solution.
No, they do know.
They don't want to implement it. They don't want to implement it. There we go.
Because let me tell you what I do know. And I have been in tough decision-making meetings where just as what you said, working with children, families, and having to be an advocate for families and having to go into these meetings. I'm in a meeting every morning at 3 a.m. with our government. Everybody knows that about me. I'm doing something with disaster relief and also a pilot program that's going to help us as volunteers from community to be able to help navigate better because of Harvey. Yeah. I'm in meetings all the time, and my voice is real big in those meetings because here's the thing that we need to understand. I'm not in there saying, I'm going to take your deal. I'm in there saying, well, that deal is not going to work for the people I serve because these are their deficits. These are their issues. These are their concerns. Educate my people. You're not going to educate them because if you educate them, they're going to mess around and follow suit and do better than what you expected.
And that's what we ain't about to have happen.
You are not going to be there. So here's what ends up happening. We never got a solution to the problem. We was only told what the alternatives was. That either you're going to close Phyllis Wheatley High School or you're going to allow TEA to take over. Let me say this here. Why you don't have the solution to share to the people if they do close Wheatley, what's the next step? Why you can't say if we keep Wheatley and let TEA take over, what's the next step? Here's the next step, people. TEA comes in, TEA takes over. TEA sends in all of the auditors and the special team and the people who are going to find out where the money went, who got the money, what's happening. That's why I keep telling y'all, all y'all who got a vendor number with HISD, please have your paperwork together.
Because baby, they come and arrest people at this point.
Can I tell you something else, Kristi?
They come and arrest people.
TEA is already in the business. What they're not telling people is TEA is already here. TEA is already regulated. IT has already been where they need to be. They've already linked in. They're already pulling all the data and information. This process is a process that happens because, again, when you sent them the wrong information, as you probably said to them, well, no, we just sent them this. You're trying to say these people came up with these numbers off the top of their head. No, they put in what you say.
Because they don't have no dog in this fight.
They don't have nothing. They're just what it is. They are auditing the system to make sure that it's working.
And guess what? This is what I have to tell people, especially in my field now. The place that because what I do is I monitor the monitors. I guess I'm in a sense I'm my own TA.
You're your own TA.
The team I'm a part of, people, is I monitor the monitors. I go in and make sure is DFPS doing what they need to do, what they said they're going to do, that now this judge has to issue all these remedial orders. And so on my way out, I tell people, like on my visit this weekend, I said, I want to get this past week, I want to get this visit over just like you want to get it over. I don't take joy in having to come here and ask questions that we should have never have to ask. Questions I have to ask, like, do you have an awake night policy? Why I gotta come in and ask you about your policy? And this is what I tell people. This is what I tell people when they look at me like, what kind of question is that? I said, it's on here for a reason. The reason it's on here for a reason, something so minute that my administrators worth salt. They look at me like, why are you asking me that? I said, it's on there for a reason. You use your brain and find out why a judge have to send people out to ask, do you have an awake night policy? Can you describe it to me? And what a lot of people don't know when I go out in the field is that I hold the same license that many of them hold. I still carry my professional licenses. So the ones that know me in the field that has been around for a long time, that's not newly popping up, they're like, whenever they see Miss Law, and I'm like, hi, how are you doing? They were like, okay, they're probably thinking, Damn it, I ain't gonna be able to, you're not gonna be able to get you know me. You know me from the field. Other people that are newer ones that are just opening, like maybe 1 or 2 years, and they don't know me in my history. Um, they try to, placate and run game. And then some of them will be like, well, I called my licensing rep or I called, and they never heard of the court monitors. I said, really? Who did you call? And then they start running off these names. I said, oh, why don't you call this person? Why don't you call that person? And I start spouting off like internal stuff. And some of them are smart enough to go back and say, what's your name again? And I know somebody makes a phone call and then they'll come back and they'll be like, Kristi Law. I'm like, yes. I just talked to such and such and such and such, who's the director of all of residential contracts. I said, yeah, me and him worked together in the field years ago. We shared, his cubicle was there, my cubicle was here, and he's now running the whole contracting department. Yeah, so you want to give me what I'm looking for? Or how long you want to play this game?
Yeah.
Because baby, I've done your job. Right. I've literally done your job, and I did very well.
Yeah.
So, gosh.
Yeah. And one thing too, we need to
I hate that because TA ain't gonna be here. It's not gonna be an in and out. No. Oh, they gonna.
Like I said, when we experienced this with North Forest, this was the beginning of the process.
And is that how North Forest shut down? Is that how North Forest?
Baby, let me tell you how North Forest shut down. We were so misappropriation of funding, and it was crazy as ever. The fact that I was a child, a student at North Forest High, not North Forest, at Forest Brook Senior High School, and I worked in the office. I also used to do internship at the superintendent's office. And the things that I experienced that I'm now remembering as a child, the things that I have saw, the paperwork that I have seen, some names that I've seen, may God rest their souls, because some of them are just dead as a doorknob now. But the things that I saw, and when it came up, where as an adult, when they sent out the alert and told us, hey, y'all, we need the alumni to come over here. We need you guys to do this. I was already in the schools and helping in North Forest always, because I really am serious about my community. And so when they gave us those calls, meetings were set up, board teams and groups were set up. We were all working hard to make sure that whatever TA was asking for, we were the ones that was going into school saying, hey, do you have this form? Do you have this? Where's this at? Can we come and help you? What do you need us to do? I was a hall monitor because they kept hollering about, oh, they cheating on the test. They doing this. I hall monitored. So the thing is that we did our part because we were well-versed and knowledgeable of things that was happening. But here's the problem. When money is on the table and you agreed for money, the old superintendent that was there at the time, H.E.R, he made the deal with TEA and some elected officials who sold us out and took us fast. They asked us, TA asked us, what district would you like to be assigned to? Because that is an option. We said we would love to go to Sheldon. Sheldon, we had a meeting with Sheldon. Sheldon was in agreement with being a part of what we had in North Forest because they're right down the street. They were a very small district as well.
Yes.
And they wanted to not take nothing from us, but do the work that was already on the plan with the money that's given. This is a money game. TEA gave money to HISD to help with what the problem is to clean up what happened in North Forest. So you're working with two budgets. So guess what happened after that?
It go deep.
When it came down to it, the only thing we got left with was to say, can you please leave our school names on the buildings? Because they wanted to take all our school names, change them out, and they sold the property. They torn down so many of our schools in North Forest because you can't sell the building because it's a nonprofit organization. Let me educate you there. You can't sell the building. But if you call it condemned, and you can sell the land because you purchase land. Land is valued. And that's what ended up happening. That's why we got these concrete bachelor plants. That's why we have all of these construction and trucking companies coming in, because you sold the land. And you didn't sell it for a whole lot. You sold it for cheap. They went and got that land for $15,000, $20,000. where that land was worth value way more than that.
You know how many of us could have went in and bought that if you would have made it public?
We
But they didn't want that to happen.
No, we couldn't buy it because we was too busy trying to show our titles. That's our issue, Black folks. We want to show our titles. We so busy to jump on for a read. We want to read people instead of being comprehensive towards.
Come on, title driven.
And that's why.
Come here, just gotta say I got a big office. Somewhere you gotta say I got a big office somewhere and ain't doing shit in the big office, but sitting there.
I've been working. See, I did this. You know me, such and such. You know me. I don't ever sit and say. I don't ever sit here and say to you guys, y'all know me. I say the facts.
The work is in the field. Girl, when I managed my case managers, the people that supposed to be in the trenches, when I was in direct supervision and they was in that office too much, this is what I say, you ain't working. I mean, no, you up in here typing. The work is in the field. Go to the ARD meeting. Go to this and this. It ain't no way one of my kids in care that's over underneath this agency that the CPS worker got to implement a surrogate parent, because you know why? We get paid to make sure that blah, blah, blah. You go and sit. If the foster parent don't understand the ARD, you go to the ARD. You tell me what's going on.
I just had a parent to tell me that they had to move their children out of the district and take them to a much better district for the resources and the identity of this child. And the label that was on this child was placed on this kid when they were in kindergarten. They did the assessment in the new district. They did the follow-up. They did all of the things. They gave that child an odd meeting. Come to find out, that child don't even, he's outgrown the special education program when he started out in kindergarten, which probably 9 times out of 10, he was just what it is, a kindergartner who was having a tough time because he went to child care. Let me tell you about early child care children. When you've been to a real good early child care program and you allow children to explore and learn, it's a difficult time to go into a classroom, a systematic classroom that is on the elementary level, systematically designed, where they need to put their hands behind their back. They need to sit for 8 to 10 hours per day, and they don't have a voice. They're not able to touch and explore the things that they are accustomed to, where they are more or less systematically driven versus child driven. That's child care.
Come here, institutionalization.
That's why that's how we get the pipeline. That's how we get that situation.
I've been screaming that forever, especially in child welfare. I'm like, I understand some kiddos and some diagnoses are going to need more structure than the other, but what would do my heart what would sadden me whenever I would be in the field interviewing kids, and guess what? I still interview kids. I have this picture right here that I kind of just want to show, and it kind of just ties in. You didn't even know I was getting ready to show it. But whenever I would go interview my kids in the field and they would tell me, Miss, I don't want to go to a foster home. I like staying in the RTC. And I say, why do you like staying in the RTC? Because RTC is like, they tell you, it's very regimented. It's very structured. You have a schedule. You have a bedtime. It's not free time. We got to keep my eye on you. It's just very regimented. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, I like the RTC. I like it here. I don't really have to think for myself. I said, huh? And basically what they have told me is that, and they just said in these words, but I interpret it as though, hey, somebody else telling me when to wake up. Somebody telling me when to go to sleep. I don't have to worry about knowing what I take medication for. They give me my meds. I don't have to worry about making my own doctor's appointments. And so basically they've grown accustomed to this, and this. If I cut up at school, they just gonna send me home and I can play on the staff computer. They don't want to go and have to take responsibility for anything. And in my mind, I'm like, you right already for prison.
You just said.
Yeah. Most of them don't have to think for themselves. And so now I'm like, you ready to scooch in. So why they like to come in and say foster care is foster care the pipeline. That's a big thing. And pipeline to prison. I'm like, yeah, you can look at it that way, but then I go back, because I've been in regulation and I've been in the field. I go back and say, well, let's talk about this rule that we put in place because you had one bad facility over here. So you're going to go and change the rule for everybody versus saying, you one facility, come here, sit down. But that one had a lot of money and that one take a lot of kids, and we keep these kids out the office and we can stay out the news, and then we don't have to give answers to the governor, and we don't have to go and do blah, blah, blah. So, you got to do all that ripple effect when you could, when first of all, let me just say somebody on the ground said, don't even open facility A, because somebody on the ground saw an application process and the contracting process. Somebody on the ground say, I don't think this is not going to work. Well, Kristi, why do you think? Well, I just been doing this a long time, and they couldn't answer some basic questions, and I just don't think I'm gonna give it 6 months to a year, and we're gonna be shutting them down. Well, we need the capacity. Okay, so we open, we get a couple of good old abuse neglect cases and investigations. We build up all of this stuff. Meanwhile, so basically, we re-traumatize kids, and so now, oh, Kristi, we gotta hurry up in the same place that I told you wasn't gonna work from the get. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel you.
Because the thing is this here too, Kristi.
So for what I'm saying, y'all, it starts there. It don't start with just this and this. It's so many freaking rules put in place that don't work for everywhere and for every kid, but it's a cookie cutter, and you don't understand diagnoses because you have MBAs in Austin, you have MSWs on the field, and of course MBA don't understand social work. Social work really don't understand business unless you go ahead and get their dual degree. Come here, get your MBA social workers. That's free on that. Come here, go sit into some quality assurance and get your project manager certification. So you can learn how to learn with both brains, and you can be the interim person. But they don't do that. So at the end of the day, we're both saying it's a disservice to the kids and the future. And you say you got into this to protect kids, because I got into this to protect kids.
And the fact that you want to yell and scream, one of the things that infuriates me the most with politicians and persons who do advocacy work, really, if you're authentically doing advocacy work, then why are you consistently sitting your tail around here with this storyline talking about, I'm a volunteer and I volunteer? Ma'am, please play games with those who don't know you. Play games. One thing I know is this, and let me just go ahead on and say this here about the current board that's there. They did not start this problem. They enhanced it, but they did not start it. But here's what I need you to understand. I don't start the stuff I got to go finish either. I don't be the problem either. I'm a solution. So when you say I'm going to advocate, I'm going to be the voice of reason, I'm going to be the speaker out loud where the quiet, still voices cannot speak. Please understand, you don't start the sugar honey iced tea, you finish it.
But that's your thing. I tell, and
I don't have no dogs in the fight, Kristi. My children are gone on. And here's the thing: all of the problems that they're talking about, where the issue is within Wheatley, I know it's the truth, because the principal that was there at that guided time, he came from a middle school where my children were. So he and we got history of him not taking ownership, not doing the job, and the rolling people underneath the bus and just driving it fast, speeding over. He does that. So guess what? While we're trying to protect people, we are going to protect the people who really, truly hold the secrets. Because the thing of it is this here. If you don't have no problems with nobody and telling them the truth, snatch the covers off, let's see these bed bugs, and let's get to it. Here's what I always say.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you all of, well, Nikki, tell us who the connect is. Tell us who this person is. If I tell you, you ain't going to even do nothing about it anyway.
Yeah.
Only thing you try to do is have a way of escape again. But please understand, I don't speak to stuff I don't know.
Yeah.
Because not only do I ask the questions, I go research and find for myself too. Yeah. And the fact that there are so many people that choose not to read, I just don't feel like working my nerve like that and doing my blood pressure by bringing you a whole 200 plus page or 500 plus page, 1,000 page book of policies and procedures, a bill and you ain't even gonna sit there and read it.
And
You
and
rather
the,
read it to you anyway. So
and
that's
here's the
why.
deal.
Wait a minute, 1 minute, Kristi.
Okay,
That's why people like Kristi is in place, because she will give you the short version, but the truth, like she said, break it down to me like a child, because my attention is only this amount. So that's why she is who she is. That's why I am who I am. So just in case you was trying to figure out who I was, this is who we are. Go ahead, Chris.
that was good. We whenever you were talking and you said, we don't want to read. And that's true. We don't want to sit and read because what they got to do with me? That's not my school in trouble. I done moved away from there. I got
Oh my, Kristi's internet. You okay today, Kristi? It stopped on us.
still see y'all. There we go. See, I can still
You
see
can
all of that that's going on.
said we couldn't hear you. Go ahead, say it again. All
Okay.
technology,
So,
the enemy gets busy because
yeah.
you're educated. But we rebuke that
So
foolishness.
we get in cars. We travel together as a group to go on cruises. We go.
It went out again. Lift your hand up. Move your computer. Because this is good communication, y'all. Y'all, I'm sorry, not sorry. This was our conversation was supposed to be, but girls, I have manner. I don't want your mate. That was the conversation we were supposed to have. However, we just deviated to what it is that's necessary and concerning to us in our community as a whole. And so that's how we ended up here in this conversation. It's still necessary, still knowledgeable information, and we still need to have this uncomfortable conversation. And the truth of the matter is that we don't need to have not meetings that do not bring any type of Kristi, go out and come back in if you can hear me. We don't need to have another meeting in regards to how and where we are in this whole entire system of blame. We don't need to blame no more. We just need a solution. And the solution that's necessary needed, I'm saying this for the community advocates, the voices, the influences to the community that give out information to help direct and to advise well to families that really want to know what to do better, how to change their whole entire seat in this situation, because this is not something that we are okay with.
That
There's
better.
a major school. Yeah, that's better. There's a
It's
major.
amazing. Every time this time of day, my internet starts to act up. I might have to call AT&T's. That's
Yeah.
where I got it with. Yeah. Um.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let
So
me get. Let me.
what I was just saying was, Kristi, is that it's amazing how we are lacking this information,
Mm-hmm.
and we are just trying to stop looking at this. This is what I want to say, really. Hey, power. Hey, people of power. Stop trying to discredit us as community voices, as voices of reason. Not all of us are okay with shenanigans, foolishness. And not all of us want you to pay us under the table to shut up. Not all of us are okay with taking side deals and be your friend and all that kind of stuff. I want to be your friend when I know you're doing the right thing. I don't want to be your friend when I know you're doing the wrong thing and let you sit there in my face and know you're doing the wrong thing. And we be chilling and giggling and laughing at the real issue.
Yeah.
I don't want that kind of friendship because I feel like that is just a two-faced slap to people who need it. You
Yeah.
done better. You're doing better. Come back and really, truly do the work.
Yeah.
But as far as to try to jump on the bandwagon to try to defend yourself, let your work do the defense.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I let my work show. I ain't got time to sit here and tell you all of the resume of what I do. No, because that ain't important. You don't care about that part. I always refer back to when I worked on that project over on Tarleton Street in Lakewood. I sat there day in, day out, and gave document videos and showed how that work process worked so they can get that street in a much quicker manner than what they was being handled in the beginning of it. I didn't do all that by myself. It was more people involved.
Yeah.
And so, but the people that was involved that should have been monitoring that, they did not. They dropped the ball. I talk about how we need to make sure and maintain our community parks with making sure we have well lighting. I'm not doing that project by myself. It's some more people. However, I'm a voice that's loud, and I'm going to consistently monitor you because obviously you need some monitoring.
Yeah.
And you can be upset and angry. My delivery is never going to be good when you're sitting up there just disrespectfully, blatantly lying to people who I have to have these intimate conversations with and say, Miss Kristi, here's what you need to do with your baby. Take your children and let's try our best to move them to another district so that you can get the adequate care for your kids.
Yeah.
And they got to go in, and we got to now find a way to get this child out of this horrible situation, which is a paper trail showing there's no consistency in communication with the teacher, no consistency communication with the principal, no consistency communication with the counselor. There's no resource services offered to the children through the wraparound specialist. All this stuff. And guess what, Kristi? A lot of times parents don't have it. You know why? Because they just talk. And we all know what it means. If me and you just having this conversation right here and we don't record it,
it didn't happen.
He say, she say, it did not happen.
It didn't. If it ain't documented, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
And you know what? It's sad that we have to get all of this documentation because it all started with no, you can't trust somebody's word. That's just that on that. And I hate, that was one thing I hated harping on. I still have to harp on it in my field. If it ain't documented, you didn't do it.
You didn't do it.
And the fact of the matter is that the time it takes to stop and document, it does take time. Especially if you got a parent dealing with 1, 2, 3 kids with, special needs, or they need extra assistance, and you done worked, and you the only caregiver, and you just trying to make sure that we got lights and water on. And then you want them to sit and document.
But they don't know. They don't know the words to say.
That part.
They are challenged in their education.
Absolutely.
Remember, the same failed system that we're talking about now is the same failed system that a lot of parents traditionally have went through.
Came out of.
I'll say it in a quick minute. Baby, my non-FARS education is kicking in today when I done made a whole run-on sentence or something that I'd say, wait, girl, read it again. Come on, do it again. But that's because, again, the system in which I come from, it was put into place, and the placement that it was there is that it was always designed to fail me out.
Yeah.
Because remember, they did not just start pipeline in the prison. They've been doing this. But they used to put in place, they were smart enough to at least put some prevention measurement programs in, but they took those away. Why? Because we used to do Scared Straight. We used to go down there and see the Ramsey 2 and 1 unit.
Yeah.
And go in the prison and see what was going on. Oh, they stopped doing that. You know why? Because you stopped them gangsters from forming. I promise you, if they do them little Scared Straights, put the board of correction back in the school. Thank you, Coach Spivey, for the flick of the wrist. Baby, put that board of correction back in school. Put God back there. Let's start with him. Let him come back. Bring the lamb back to, Mary had brought a lamb to school. Let her bring a lamb back.
Yeah.
So now, Moses, let the people go, Pharaoh. And guess what? Noah, we said this 5 years ago. We said this when Noah Forest was taken over 10 plus years ago. We are going to experience rain. It's never rained. Oh, but it's going to rain.
And it's
what I can say,
takeover is nasty. A takeover
is nasty.
And
they just decide today that they're going to do this. What they're saying is that you're not responsible as we expected you to be and what you said you was going to be. So now we got to come in and really look and see what you're doing with this money. And all that, I fight for budgets. I fight for more money. Like I told the lady before in a meeting, the trustee, ma'am, can you just at least go cut the grass over there? Because I didn't pay my $150 to get that grass cut. See, I don't speak to stuff that I don't know.
Yeah.
I was a parent who had a child who played baseball on that field. Why should I be calling my landscaper to come and cut a grass when there is a maintenance budget in the district that y'all put on the paper that said we gonna get the cutting of the grass these times of the month? That's what you said you was gonna do.
Yeah.
But because you cool with the maintenance person, you too busy got them at your house cutting grass. You too busy getting donations and partnerships and connections for your benefits.
Yeah.
Because the saying, come here, Houston's livestock show and rodeo. Why you just didn't get them tickets to somebody else? That's what the old board members used to do. They used to donate tickets to the families.
Yeah.
Because I remember taking children and giving them that VIP experience in a lot of sporting events.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, I do. This is not a job that's just an easy job. It's a job that you got to do. And yes, you got to be able to take the good and the bad. I'm not perfect. I make major mistakes. But one thing I am is a woman that believes in what I do with the integrity and character when the camera goes off.
That's what matters.
So today we had a conversation. It did not go the way y'all planned it, but it went perfect for me. How about you, Kristi?
It's what needs to be talked about. It's perfect for me. I'm not afraid to talk about stuff like this. I wish we would treat legislative calls like we treat the next concert coming to town, or how we travel to go and support and we spend the weekend go and see your favorite artists. If people would really go to Austin and read, because even if you don't understand it, you got a Nikki or a Kristi that can break that thing down. And don't be afraid to ask somebody. Like I just asked my cohort with all of my fabulous educated self, hey man, I ain't educated in this piece. Can you tell me about it? It wasn't that, and that's just that on that. We gotta stop being scared. We gotta stop being scared to say, well, I don't understand it. That really don't bother me. And this and that. I ain't going down there and talk. Man, get your butt in that car and go to the legislative meeting. Go to Austin, go to the state capitol. You would be very surprised to know that half of them don't know what the heck they talking about neither. But because nobody ain't there to tell them, no, that ain't it. Who
But
you
here's
think was gonna do that?
Here's what I'm gonna say too.
You gotta go. You gotta read. You gotta fight. You gotta put that same passion and intensity into that thing, like you get that same heat to that teacher who's trying to meet these hell of requirements for your kid, and they don't know their numbers and their letters, and yet they in the first grade trying to teach them how to write, and you mad because anyway. So I mean, you got to get down there and fight. Yeah. Like put that energy somewhere. Like go down there. You have the power to change the rules. I've seen foster parents go down to the state and say, "No, this rule ain't gonna work." The Foster Parent Association is very powerful in Texas that a lot of people don't know about. I would educate my foster parents and say, "Go join this group. I ain't afraid for you to join the group. What you need from me? You need to find some respite. You need somebody to watch some kids while you go fight for this rule, because they implement rules that's going to affect you, and you know good and damn well this rule is not going to fly in a foster home because it just don't make sense. But these people ain't never fostered, so it's going to take you to go down and do it. I could say it all day, but it looks better coming from you. So go join those groups. And there have been rules that have been reversed in the foster care system that they placed, and enough people barked and said, "Who gonna follow that?" And let me tell you why it don't work. You can't just go out there saying this and this. You got to say why it don't work for the kids you serve. But we can do it. We know how to rally when it matters.
Oh, we did it. We did it Monday, and that's the part that was disappointing. That there was a meeting, and parents were available. Community advocates and community leaders and voices from the community were there.
Good.
Those individuals who sat on the stage, the prestige stage, They sat there and played with the time of the people. They pushed agendas that had nothing to do with what the purpose was there. There was not a solution. There was too many cameras. They did not allow not one community person, not one parent. They insulted the children so good. Come on up here and take a picture with history. Come on up here and take a picture with this one man who walked with civil rights. Yeah, but did you even ask these kids? Did you even interject and say, now, do y'all have something to say, children? No, you're too busy getting your own agenda. Then you letting a congresswoman speak and deter families from this particular agenda to your own agenda, which is, oh, and we send our kids to military. Then, ma'am, y'all better pay attention to people. Anything that they are passionate advocating for, there is a catch-22 on it. When y'all say, Nikki, why you so passionate about this? My catch-22 is I enjoy educating and fighting for children to have better quality service and care. I enjoy educating parents so that they can be much better and help their children in the same mindset that they want. I get uncomfortable speaking about money, but I know that money is necessary to do the work that we do.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to stand up and say, you wrong as two left shoes, and here's what we need to do to fix it if you want to fix the problem. And that's what we got to do, Kristi. We got to get to a place where we cannot come save you. So the room was packed with people and ready to go people. But guess what happened in the room, Kristi?
What?
The people made a decision and a choice to leave because there was nothing of substance. There was nothing of solution. And you didn't even let the people say something.
Wow.
Because you let everybody on stage have, and then you're going to sit up there and say you regulating time. Oh, everybody just going to get 2 minutes. And you, the congressperson, you're going to get 4 minutes. That woman stood up butt up there for damn near 15 minutes telling a whole storyline of nothing. And then go insult the people, say, now you get 10 friends, you get 10 friends, and you get 10 friends. We need to take 1,000 people to the Capitol. To do what? They don't even know what they're going for. So now you're going to have 1,000 people who are influenced by you and your foolishness standing out there. No takeover. No takeover. No takeover. No takeover. They don't even know who take over and who doing the overing and what the overing is. And they don't even know who they need to be talking to while they over. This is the very conversation that Harold Dutton had at Phyllis Wheatley High School and told them when they cussed him out, talked to him bad, and told him he ain't worth nothing. That man told him, I wrote this bill to save y'all. There is some things that now the school is going to have to do. I did not write this in a heart of to make sure that we take this out. I am an alumni. That's what he said. But we got to stop doing this foolishness. He charged the parents. He charged the teachers. He charged the administration. He charged all of something that you need to change. And that's a very uncomfortable disposition to be in when you know people don't trust you anyway.
Yeah.
And the fact is of it is that get a man the credit. He stay in the community. He shops in the community. He works, live, and come and help in the community. And half of the people that got a problem with him, they didn't already called him underneath the table and asked, can you help me? So the man has moved some mountains for a bunch of people. I'm not saying he's perfect. What I'm saying is that man said, if y'all don't get it together, there will be a consequence.
Yeah.
But we never want the person who tells us there's a consequence to your behavior. We never want that person to speak up. And that's why, Kristi, we don't get invited to a lot of places and spaces because we don't go along to get along. And let me say this here to you bone carriers. Keep carrying the bones. Keep carrying them back. Because the thing of it is this here. As you are carrying the bones, you need to carry the whole story back. And you need to make sure that you are accountable. Because it ain't what you saying to the person you trying to come and collect information from. It's what you saying to the person who you going back to report to. Yeah. And report to them the right thing. Because this is the thing. If I got Kristi's ear, if I can talk to Kristi, who makes a big decision every day, like she does on the federal level, I need to talk to Kristi and tell her the importance. And as she said, educate her. Make sure she's well versed in knowing why I am fighting for this.
Yeah.
I don't want TA to come in and take over, because I saw this with my own school district. People said they was going to do right. They were going to be the better school district, but it's not the truth.
I know you don't want it. And unfortunately, I've in my position, trust me, I hate that DFPS has gotten to this point. I guess, I mean, the whole federal lawsuit, we're pretty much going in and the judge is having to regulate and put all these remedial orders. And that's what we're doing. We're making sure that y'all follow the orders. I hated that it had to come to this.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I'll be honest with you, Miss Nikki, I'm not sad about it because you knew it was coming. It's not like you didn't know, but you just thought probably like, I'm making this sound like HSD thought, ain't nobody really about to go in and mess with Texas foster care. You know how big Texas is? Ain't nobody getting ready to go there and do that. That's going to last forever. And some of the major hitters that were untouchable that said, oh, they would never close. Oh, they would never close. And baby, when the news started hitting and the judge started asking questions like, so you had children die, DFPS, in this facility, and you knew that they died and you still gave them another contract. Explain. And waiting for the answer, and don't nobody got no answer. And then her next words is, why are they still in operation right now? Is this not an issue for you? And then before you know it, you get the memo. Oh, such and such has shut down. We need to now place 70, 80 kids. And it's a lot of people that were, it's the heavy hitters started to fall. The giants started to fall. And you hate that it got that way, because if somebody would have watched these smoke signals 5, 6, 7 years ago, it would have never gotten this way. But money prevailed, and then you got somebody, like you said, that couldn't be bought and ain't getting ready to play with you. And now your heavy hitters is gone. And so now it's like, okay, what we getting ready to do? So now you cleaning house.
It's one of them diamond you fixed.
I say all that to say is that I hate that we got to come in and monitor the monitors. Like, I really, really do hate that for the workers that I know that are on the field in the trenches doing their job. But I don't hate it for the ones that I'm like, about damn time they about to start cutting some heads, because y'all ain't up there doing nothing anyway. I don't even know if I could say that or not said that. But I don't apologize that I don't think it's a bad thing that TA got to come in and take over, because apparently we can't regulate ourselves, and it's sad that now they got to come in and start chopping heads from the top when you could have handled it, in house on both levels. You could have straightened shit up in house, just like it went corrupt in house.
Because the thing is this here, if you're gonna give your friend a contract, see, this is again, it goes back to what we've had about the conversation about loyalty, friendships, and covering. If you my real friend, cover me for real. Keep me out them fed streets.
I'm gonna tell you, if you come to me to open up a facility, don't try to stack your place up with kids. Finish your monitoring. They watching you for the first 90 days. Have enough money to pay your staff. Put 5 kids in your 20-bed place. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to done told you. Some people listen. Some people they want to.
You said the key word. The first thing people ask me when they come to me about opening up a child care facility, Miss Nikki, is there funding for me to open up this?
Don't open it if you ain't got it.
How do I get some money to open up this? Do they got a government grant that they will pay me for this? Miss Nikki, where do I get the money from to be able to open up this facility? Hey, do they got money?
Just what I tell people.
Nonprofits. Hey, where can I get the grants from?
I tell people, have your own money in reserve, because I'm gonna tell you what they're gonna do. They're gonna come tell you the best thing since sliced bread, so you can take these kids that you're not equipped to handle. I don't care. I don't care if you have not handled a kid that's been abused and traumatized and passed from placement to placement. If you have not personally handled a kiddo in that situation, I don't give a damn how many degrees. I don't care. You are not ready. I'm telling you. This is my word. You are setting yourself up for failure. I'm telling you. Oh my God. And this is what I say. You know what you show, right? I've only been doing this for 20 years. So okay. And so I let you let the state come in and give you all of this money to take away they this and that. I said, okay, now let one thing go awry. I guarantee you they're gonna act like they never knew you. And then things start going awry, and then it's like whistling Dixie. Woo, woo, woo. Miss Kristi, they came in and now they I said, oh really? I said, you ain't never once stopped to ask yourself, if they have all these wonderful placements and they got all this money to throw your way, why ain't nobody else took the chance on housing this kiddo? Why you got it? Why you think that you all of a sudden so much better? They they could have paid them down the street, right? It's not a lack of money. And so I'm like, think, but you so busy want to be put on, but you being played. And so now at 6 months in, you got to shut your shit down, or you got to back up. I got to lower my capacity. Oh, really? I told you not to fill it up anyway. I need you to come clean it up. No, you don't want me to come clean it up.
And that's the thing. They don't want to clean it up. They really don't.
You don't want me to come clean it up. But yeah, okay.
And that's that pick that brain situation. Let me pick your brain. And the thing is true. You'll talk to me in private. I talk to so many folks in private, but then we get in these streets, they don't want to talk. They don't want to tell the truth. Like I tell people all the time, I do not run around town hollering and screaming saying, hey, come tell me something. I'm at 8005 Miley Street doing nonprofit work for Simply Her Movie. And guess what? I get information all the time. You know why? Because I'm trusted.
Yeah.
And I'm not biased. I'm going to check you. I'm going to check them. I'm going to check everybody that's involved. Why? Because I want to get down to the solution. And that's what we do as solutionarians. We are always going to snatch it apart. We got to pull it apart. We got to disassemble it in order to put it back together to work right.
Yeah. And that disassemble. That disassemble. And so I'm not sorry T.A. is in there. I hate it for the ones that are actually trying to really do their job.
Of course.
I hate it for the, my sorors that's graduating in education, and they're like ready to get in there and do some work, and you sitting back there praying like, Jesus, I hope they don't get run off from the system. I hate it for those that are trying to do their job.
Let me give you a solution for them.
And they just like, I'm done with education. Like, I don't even care where I go work now. Like, Target got to open it. Like, I got friends that are like literally good teachers. And I think I was telling you that she was like, Kristi, I got first graders that don't even recognize their name. They don't know the letter and the alphabet. She said, in administration, it's like, you're not meeting your goals. She said, how can I meet a goal when a kid don't even know their letters and they numbers? And the parent is not trying to help me at home. And she's like, I can't teach you to write if you don't know your letters. And administration is looking at her like, well, you're not meeting your goal. She said, I'm never going to meet them because they don't know their letters. If you can tell me how to teach somebody to read and they don't know their letters, she said, I'm all open to that solution. But that I can't get to 5 if I can't get to 2. Like, and they look at it, she said, they look at me like I'm talking Greek. She's like,
no, they're pretending like that. They're pretending like,
say, damn hell well, I can't teach to write if you don't know letters. Like, what world do we not understand that in? But literally, like, that is her reality. That is her reality. Mm-hmm. First grade, don't know your name. And I'm sitting back like,
they don't even do sight words no more.
I said, where did we go as a community? Like, that was the first thing my caregiver taught me. So it's and at that point, that to me, that tells me that's a whole nother issue that we haven't tackled that's affecting the school system. Like that's a whole nother systemic issue
Absolutely.
that we haven't, but you got to address it if you're going to serve these communities. And from what I'm hearing you say, that they went to TEA and said we need these monies to help these communities, but you ain't helping the community. That's what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so now
again,
TEA got to say, let's come back in.
All the resources were given and available if you tap in and use them.
Makes sense.
The fact that you walk into, and we're gonna go, the fact that you walk into the fact that you're walking into an actual wraparound specialist closet and it's filled from top to bottom.
I got a problem with that. Look, I have problems like you got a problem. I'm like,
here I am in nonprofit work. I got a front room that is filled with supplies. I got a problem with that. I'm headed out now to go and pick up. Good morning. Good morning, Tricia. I'm going right now to go pick up donations to add to this front room. So you already know what's about to happen, right? I'm about to pop up and give something out today. Why? Because I have a problem with having stuff.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But here's what we are with this. We got to be a conscious mindset. And the community, we are going to put a meeting together. I'm working with a few people. We're going to put something together. We're not putting no shit shenanigans together. I said what I said. We're not going to put no, yes, thank you so much, Trisha. Thank you so much. We are not going to put no people in status on the stage to sit there and lie. If you don't have a solution or answers to questions, we're not doing that. We're not going to muzzle people's mouths and have them, we know they can talk well and help educate, and then we want to muzzle them because they asking you the tough questions and they passionate in their tones. We're not going to sit there and dance around questions. We're going to answer these questions to the families because that's the only way you're going to get these people on your book. Parents don't want to be with their children. They about to have a whole fit in these streets about spring break. I promise you. So if you tell them the truth, they gonna go walk.
Yeah.
But the problem is you want to tell them half the stuff. You only want to tell them enough so that you can kind of dangle them on.
Yeah.
Our people perish for a lack of knowledge. Let's pray.
Yeah.
Father God, we thank you. This is the day, God, that you have made. God, we shall rejoice and be glad in it. God, I pray for the school system.
Yeah.
God, I'm praying for the families. God, I'm praying for the students. God, I'm praying for the teachers. God, I'm praying for the administrators. God, I'm praying for every person, God, that is dedicating time and advocacy, God, and working, God, to make this whole thing better. God, I pray right now for TEA.
Yeah.
God, I pray for Phyllis Wheatley High School. God, I pray for HISD. I ask right now, God, that you really, truly, honestly give us a solution, God. God, we're coming to you. For God, you know the plan. And the plan is to prosper us, God, and not to harm us. So, God, give us the plan. Help us and help us to be more accountable, God.
Yeah.
And be what we're supposed to be, God, and do the work, God. I thank you in advance, God, and I'm praising you, God. God, forgive us of our sins, shortcomings, or anything, God, that we've done that's not pleasing to you. Help us as we go through our day, travel safely. God, give us the next day. And God, I thank you for Kristi Michelle for educating us, God, in her advocacy area, God. And God, I thank you, God, for giving me the wisdom and knowledge, God, in my advocacy area. And God, I pray that we are all a blessing to someone, God, that's going to effect the change where they want to become better. And it is in your daughter's son Jesus' name we pray and ask. Amen. Listen, it's not about what we say. It's about how we make you feel. And man, I make you feel some type of way. Y'all have an amazing day. Thanks, Kristi.
Bye, y'all.